You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Monday Night Community Show with me, Daniel, right here at BRFM 95.6, and it's time to continue the series of interviews I'm doing at the moment with creative people and places Swale and Medway. And basically at the moment they're doing a selection of events across Swale and Medway, and the next event is called Our Space, and it's being organised by the Kent Architecture Centre. It's going to be in Chatham by the Waterfront, right near the new bus station, between 11am and 2:30 on Saturday the 16th of March. And I was out and about earlier on in the week, and I went down to the University of Kent at the Chatham Dockyard, and I caught up with Chris Lamb, Robert and Tim, and some of the students from the University of Kent who are going to be involved in this latest event. And they are the creative event students and some fine art students as well. Now, being I spoke to Chris Lamb before from the Kent Architecture Centre, I thought I'd start off by talking to him. As always, Chris, it's good to speak to you.
Yeah, good to speak to you, Daniel, too.
Now, we're going to be talking all about the latest project coming up from Creative People and Places. I think the best thing is if you could explain to our listeners what that is all about.
Well, Creative People and Places is all about great art and really raising participation in art. And we're part of a consortium, 6 organisations. And as a way of really leading into the programme, it's a really exciting initiative for Medway and Swale. As a way of leading into the programme and kind of setting the foundation, we're each member of the consortium is doing an event. And we've chosen to do one really digging into the notion of place and what place means to everybody. And we've picked a very important part of Medway to look at that the students and Robert are going to tell you about a little bit later.
So it's quite interesting how you're going to be working with students. I was wondering if we could expand more on that.
We started working with students in the University of Kent on a collaboration we did with the Crafts Council called Placemaking, which is all about connecting makers, craftspeople, to architects and looking at collaborative practice, but around the notion of local distinctiveness. We based that in the dockyard here. And I have to be honest, it was such an absolute knockout working with the University of Kent and the students that we really wanted to do it again, and we're looking at a way to do that. And Tim and Peter and the students have been great, and we're looking forward to this collaboration on the 16th coming up.
So we're now going to be talking to Rob. I was wondering firstly if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Certainly, yes. My name's Robert. I work with Chris at the Kent Architecture Centre, and I lead the design support programme there. And my interest really is in getting local people, local views represented in new development, and making sure that we listen to all those stakeholders and others that have an interest in the way the built environment is shaped.
Now, as Chris said, you're going to be working with the students here at the University of Kent. Can you tell us a little bit about those students? And
Certainly, yes. We're working with 2 different groups of students, both from the School of Fine Art at the University of Kent. Those that are interested in their own creative practice, so kind of artists in their own right. And similarly with a second group who are interested in kind of creative events and laying on fantastic and methods of engaging people, but also disseminating information. So we're working with that second group to kind of curate a kind of micro festival, if you like, that will get people involved, talking about and potentially shaping public space within Medway.
So it's to give them a real hands-on project.
That's right, yes. Hopefully the students get out of it the opportunity to work with ourselves and other professional artists and professionals in the built environment. And hopefully that will help shape their practice. They get a live project with a live audience. And hopefully, like we say, we manage to tap into that fantastic creativity that each of the students has and the energy that they bring to the project.
So how far are they in their studies here?
We've worked with various students from the first year to the third year. So there's some who are just starting out on their education, and there's others who are entering the world of work and looking to find placements or other activity in the creative industries. So hopefully we can input to each of those different groups.
So after speaking to Chris and Robert, I thought it'd be good to talk to some of these students. And what I thought I would do firstly was talk to Laura generally about how the students are working on this project, and then talk to them individually about the areas they are working on specifically.
Hi, nice to meet you first, Al.
Yeah, I'm good to meet you.
Yeah, well, basically, Robert came down to speak to us at the uni on behalf of the Kent Architecture group, and they mentioned the project that he's already mentioned to you before, and a way that he could incorporate us as students. So, we decided how was it best to kind of communicate with the people of Chatham, what they really want from the spaces of Chatham and what it means to them growing up, and how they envisage their future and the best ways to go about doing this. And we kind of collectively brainstormed, came up with many different ideas, and inevitably we went back to holding an event to get everyone involved in the community and hold many different things going on at the event, but which will also allow everyone to explore the space and their opinions and ideas for the space.
So can you tell us the times and dates?
Yeah, so the event is going to be held Saturday, which is the 16th of March. It's going to go on from 11 a.m. to roughly 2:30 p.m. People can come down to the space, the green space in front of the bus station, so next to the Chatham Community Hub, which is also known as Chatham Library, the big white building. I'm sure you'll all recognise it. If not, you'll see us standing out there with our colourful outfits on. It's called Evolving Medway Waterfront, Shape the Future, because as I said, we're really looking into what people want for Medway and the waterfront especially for the future. So feel free to come down, join in the fun. There'll be lots going on, many different activities, things to do, things to see, things to learn. And just get involved as a community. Help us out and help your future out, really.
This is the Monday Night Community Show with me, Daniel, and we are continuing to hear those interviews I did when I was out and about at the Chatham Dockyard at the University of Kent building. And at the moment we're continuing to hear some of the interviews I did when I was speaking to the students all about their involvement in the latest Creative People and Places Swale and Medway event being organised by the Kent Architecture Centre. So you just told us about the project in general, Laura, but I was wondering, could you tell our listeners your direct involvement in it and what you will be doing?
Yeah, okay, so Robert kind of gave us the task of going away and really thinking about a type of kind of group, if you like, or audience that we'd really like to hear from and get involved with, and an activity that will kind of suit them. And I decided to go with a younger age group, so children, primary school ages, so aged from 4 up to 11, because I think children are the future citizens of a place. A lot of the time, because they're young, their perspective gets kind of left outside. People don't really take much heed to it, but they are really the people that are going to grow up in the space when these changes happen. Also, they're never scared to let their imaginations run loose with ideas and stuff like that. So I thought it'd be great to get them involved, but not just the children, but their parents as well. So a good way of getting them to work together, to collaborate and to come up with ideas and just have fun. So what I decided to focus on was kind of a little fun day with the children and their parents, where they'll come down, when they drop in. Initially I'm going to have a mask making session, so they'll be able to get creative with some mask templates, make a mask and with their parents. And then I'll provide them with a kind of spy activity book, if you like, called Past, Present and Future. This will have various activities where they can go down and explore the site, the waterfront, and just really do an activity based on the past, maybe a picture of what it used to look like, some ideas about what they like and they don't like for the present, and maybe just an imaginative drawing of what they'd envisage in the future for the space, all the time incorporating the mask that they made earlier. So just kind of like their spy mask, they put this mask on and they take on a character of what they'd really like in the space and use their imagination. Just really working with their parents, having fun and learning about the space at the same time. That way, when I get the activity book back, I'll have a perspective from the child and from the parent at the same time. So 2 different outlooks onto the space, really. I think it will work together well.
So you're kind of learning from people without them really realising, because you're engaging them in an event.
Exactly, because they're having fun at the same time, and the children and the parents will get to bond, but they'll both be doing their activities kind of separately and together. So again, they'll be giving kind of information and really learning about the space, but they'll be having fun, so it won't be like work to them, but it'll be really beneficial to us as a project. So it's kind of a win-win situation for both parties.
Laura, thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you.
So we're now joined with Jess and Lauren, and we're continuing to talk to the students about their individual roles within this activity for creative people and places. And I was wondering if you could both tell us your area, just like Laura has just done.
Yeah, I decided to use the area diversity and look at all the different types of people that Medway has. I wanted to create sort of a day that showcased all the different skills and areas around Medway. So, for example, like creative aspects such as dancers, arts and crafts, and then other sort of fields like gardening, and just to basically invite people to come along and demonstrate their skills, just take part in something new, something they haven't done before, and it's just a way to find out the good qualities that Medway does have to offer and a way they can be incorporated into making a new town centre. And Jess basically has one of these sort of open workshops that she's developed herself.
Yeah, I've decided to focus on an archaeological dig, which is for the whole community. Basically what they want to do is they're going to dig for models which are aspects of the new space, such as like benches, fountains, and what they are then going to do is take it to another project and then place it within a large-scale model, which is what Alex and Becky are going to talk to you about.
Well, as Jess previously said, we will be making a large-scale model of the space of the waterfront area outside of the library, and from her archaeological dig, people will get aspects of a space they might want, like benches, a fountain, anything like that, and they can bring it over and they can put it onto our large-scale model that we have made of the area, and so then people can come along, they can move everything around and see how they want the space.
Yeah, they can do it through either making like a miniature model, they can do it through just words or sketches, so it's up to them how much time they want to spend doing it. It's just basically how they'd want to improve the area with new objects or removing things, or just to basically improve it for them personally.
So again, it could be about getting people to work together. So different people may turn up who don't know each other and start to pull these objects out, and then together they build this model.
Yeah, each time someone puts on a new object, we'll also take a picture of it so we can see how each person's idea changes and maybe build a big collage of different people's interpretations of the area.
Yeah, this part of the event will also be followed by a barbecue, so people can just come along, get some food whilst they're doing all the separate activities, and they can just have a good time.
Now, I know there was something else that you wanted to cover that's going to be there on the day, I understand.
Yeah, so alongside everything else, just to make the event even more sort of interactive, we're going to invite people to perform in a sort of busker style, and in that way that the audience then have the option to put some money in, and it's not necessarily something they have to pay for, it's something they can just enjoy as an atmosphere and sort of see the event as the ballet of life.
We are continuing to hear those interviews I did here at the Monday Night Community Show with me, Daniel, when I was out and about at the Chatham Dockyard earlier in the week at the University of Kent's space, covering the latest Creative People and Places event, Our Space, organised by the Kent Architecture Centre. And I thought it would be a good idea next to speak to Tim, who's been working with the fine art students on this event.
Yes, my students, the fine art students, they're fine art second year students, and we've included this Creative People and Places project as part of a module they're doing that looks at place and site, looking very broadly at place and site. And what's been particularly good for them is it's enabled them by focusing on the locality and particularly Chatham. It's enabled them to examine and start to kind of unpick their own feelings about the area. They're mainly students who come from outside the area. They live in halls of residence, so they're here for 3 years. And as I said, it's allowed them to sort of analyse their feeling about the place and come up with possible suggestions for more sort of public-facing examination of the area. Yeah.
I always find it quite interesting how different approaches are in perhaps people who live here in the area and then someone else who comes from outside the area and how they see it. Has that been a part of that? It
has, yes. I mean, some of them, particularly the ones that sort of come from the home counties and places like Brighton, they found to be honest, they found Chatham quite harsh. One of them,
right?
But but just by spending time and sort of immersing themselves in the place, what's been very interesting, particularly for them, is the way that their feelings about the area have changed, particularly in relationship to its past, and looking at ways, not necessarily prescriptive ways, of reconnecting people with the river frontage, because there's a general sense in which the town has forgotten why it's here.
Right.
We're all here because of the river.
Yeah.
The historic dockyard's here because of the river, and the university's here because of the river. And the town itself has almost turned its back on the river. So it's, for example, it's hard to actually walk. You can't walk along the entire length. Your routes consistently blocked by sort of car parks and other bits of infrastructure. And it's looking at that, not just that physical, but also that emotional, psychological reconnection with the river as a reason for place.
So getting people to re-look at the area with new eyes, in a way.
No, I'm not sure how I feel about this idea of regeneration as in a kind of imposition.
Right.
I'm much more interested in examining what's already here and building on that, and people's the real connection people already have with the place, and learning to value that, rather than the default, which is Chatham was great in the past, but it's not anymore. And I think the students have, one girl made a video in which she, rather than interviewing passers-by, she entered into a dialogue with them, so it became more of a kind of conversation.
Right.
And through that, she was able to move away from the rather negative default that a lot of people have about Chatham, and find out more about them as individuals and why they were actually here in the first place. And
right.
And I think, and through that, their feeling of connection with the place.
So they're doing a similar thing to the students you just spoke to by talking to them in another way, or by getting them to do an activity. You break that barrier down. Exactly.
So there's no sense of imposition. It's more of you surprise them with something pleasurable, exciting, and through that you are able to enter a dialogue, and just to start that thinking about what we're doing here, and by kind of extension how the place could be made better.
Now, you spoke about one of the students, and I was able to speak to, 4 or 5 students. What are some of the other students doing in brief?
As I said, one student has made a kind of documentary film of the area, which has a soundtrack made up of different parts of conversations that she had with people that she met and started talking to around Chatham. Another student has come up with a proposal for a sort of community labyrinth between the bus station and the river, and at the centre of historically the centre of the labyrinth has been the most important point. And she's considering, one of her ideas is for a well that's connected to the river, so the well would be tidal and the water level would move up and down.
Right.
And she's designed it so it's accessible for people with buggies and wheelchairs, and the whole thing would be a way of bringing people together. Others have looked at various temporary structures that they could bring into the town centre for a short time, designed to stimulate sort of community through practical workshop activities for children and families. They're designed to trigger conversation and dialogue that way. Temporary sculptural interventions. So a range of approaches, really. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Pleasure.
So after going round the room and speaking to Robert, some of the students and Tim, I thought it would be good to finish off with a bit of a roundup from Chris all about this project and forthcoming event.
Well, Daniel, I think the key thing to say is that it's really about the notion that people should have a voice in shaping their future. But a lot of that is based, as we know, on the past. And Medway's got such a rich heritage. And it's now thinking, well, how can that really inform the future? And I think what's unique about this project is it really tries to do that, but in a way that I think is quite manageable. It's a very important space, that space near the bus station, between the bus station and the river. Very important space to Medway. So we're really pleased to be doing it. Really pleased to be collaborating on Creative People and Places, no doubt about it. And we look forward to seeing as many people on the 16th of March as we possibly can. We're starting at 11 o'clock. And I hope, through talking to the students and the tutors and Robert today, I hope we've given a really good insight into what's going to be happening. I think it'll be an extraordinarily good day. And look forward to seeing everybody. And yourself, of course, Daniel.
Oh, it'd be good to see all of you there as well, especially speaking to you on the project and how it's progressed, to then see it finally, I think is always nice.
Yeah, it's taken quite a lot of work, but I think it'll be worth it. The key thing for me is that everyone's passionate in some way about their place. And this is about kind of giving a new way into understanding place and maybe shaping it. But anyone who's interested, they should just come down and meet us. We'd love to see them.
I was just wondering, do you have a website where people could find out more as well?
We do. We've got our own website. There's obviously the Creative People and Places website, but our website is architecturecentre, which is all one word, .org.
Chris, as always, thank you for giving me the chance to speak to you, and also thank you for introducing me to the students here at the University of Kent at Chatham Dockyard.
It's a pleasure, Daniel. I look forward to seeing you on the 16th, and of course, as many people as from Swale as Medway and Medway as we can, really.